Hey guys, Underground Geek here, and today I want to talk about this new series called Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers. Um, they have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but they also had this new series called Go-Go Power Rangers, and it's a little bit different story. It's got a little bit different artists on it. It's got a different writer, and it's a series that they tried to make a lot of fun for the people that are Power Ranger fans. It's serious, but at the same time, they're trying to throw some fun in there as well. And what they're trying to do is they're really trying to capture the way that the first Power Rangers team was. And right off the bat, if you'll notice who did the cover, Gurihiru. I really like these guys. I like the way they draw, and that's really what brought me to this comic. I saw these characters, and I noticed that they looked the way that Gwenpool is drawn. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I like this. And then once I noticed the cover, I was like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to look at this. So if you'll check out the cover, it's pretty neat. They all have their own little stuffed animals here for each one. Zax is hanging out, he's too cool for school. And this is issue number 1. Well, basically, this is the Teen Titans, okay? Because what you've got here is you've got Robin, the leader. You've got Cyborg, Zach. You've got Raven, which is Trini. You've got Beast Boy, which, doesn't really comfort Billy. And then you've got Starfire, which is Kimberly. And so basically, that's what kind of drew me to it once I read it, was the way that the characters are in the comic. Now, one thing I really like about this comic is it's got a matte finish. I like that because it doesn't reflect the sun a whole lot, but it also gives the book a lot more presence, as far as it's just not a throwaway book, you know what I mean? It feels better. So it's written by Ryan Perot, illustrated by Dan Mora. The colors are by Raul Angulo, I think it's Angelo. Letters by Ed Dukeshire, and the covers by Dan Mora and Miguel Mercado. But obviously this one's by Gurihiru. And I really like that. I was hoping they did the whole comic, but then once I saw the inside of the comic, it's kind of okay, because this artist, Dan Mora, is really good. Like, look at this comic here. Okay, it starts out right where the first episode of Power Rangers ends. Okay, so they're fighting Godar in the epic first battle. They're fighting, the sword lands, they get it, they start the epic battle. Look at the expressions on Godar. But they got this cool fight going, and they're talking. Basically, they say, what the heck is going on? We're space ninjas. A mild oversimplification. Sorry, space ninjas would kill a robot shaped like dinosaurs. Technically, a mastodon isn't a dinosaur. Neither is a saber-tooth tiger. Thanks, Nerd Police. But you can tell who's talking because there's the blue, the yellow, and the black. So once I read through it again, I could kind of figure out who was talking. So they get this neat little scene here. Look at how epic this looks. That is cool. Now, I knew it was coming because of the way they were talking. We totally won. Did we, though? Yeah, we saved the world, like for real, for real. Seems like they just forfeit. And at first I was like, oh gosh, with the cringy talking, but then I remembered they're in high school, so it's okay. This isn't over. I'll be back. Forfeit, come on. City's still standing, no one died. And we just Legoed 5 baby robots into a giant super robot on our first try. This is obviously a trace here of the original show because it looks just like the scene. And then you got this cool little shot here. Sounds like a win to me. Don't ever call Kitty Source a baby robot again. I kind of like that. It's slightly funny. And then we get this cool shot here where they're all sitting on top of the Megazord. And they're just having a little conversation here. He says, you already named it? Yeah, I think she named all of them. It's pretty up here. You guys know I'm terrified of heights, right? And then there's Jason standing there. They all have their own personalities. So basically they're talking. Look how they draw Jason. I love the design of him. But then they show a cool fighting scene. It's very 90s, very Street Fighter-esque. He's sitting there training. We start to get the backstory of everybody. There's Jason Lee Scott, 15, likes Eye of the Tiger, brunettes, and pretty much all things karate. I see what you did there with the brunettes. I see what you're doing. And then he says dislikes, bullies, beats, and being told to calm down. You know, just like every young teenage boy. And then his personal quote is, "Man is not made for defeat. A man can be defeated or be destroyed but not defeated." Ernest Hemingway. They all get these neat little quotes. So they do the same thing with all of them. Basically, Zach... Jason has no time for girls because he's always training, always doing things. Zach's the exact opposite. He's always talking to girls and whatnot. He's kind of the ladies' man. Seems a lot like Cyborg. And then we get Billy and Trini. They're talking. Trini likes a boy, but she doesn't know how to tell him. She's confiding in Billy, and then Billy gets hit by Bulk and Skull with a water balloon. You know, just like the show. And so then we have this weird Matt character. I don't remember him from the show, but he's like the popular boy, and we'll get to him later, but he's like helping Billy and whatnot. He's almost like, you know, something's going to go down because he's another alpha male that's been a good guy to the group that's not a Power Ranger. So he's like another Jason, and you can only have one Jason in a comic. So then we get to a good point here with Rita, Repulsa, and the rest of them. But first she says, you know, that you failed me. And he says, "Whatever you require, I will provide, my Empress. We live to serve. The putties await your command." You know, just like the show. "Good, but I won't make the mistake of attacking blindly again. Thanks to our two guests." And I was like, whoa, who are these guys? And then I remembered from the way she's talking, these were the two astronauts that woke Rita up. You know, from the show that we like never saw again. I was like, whoa, that's a pretty good story. Way to tie them in. And look how Rita's drawn. She's actually drawn like a pretty female as opposed to an old lady. I thought that was different. So then we get Angel Grove Youth Center and Juice Bar. "Where's Kimberly? You know where she's at. Well, she needs to be here. This is important." And so they're all talking about what happened with the huge attack and what to do now. And they say, "Well, you know, we could always Power Ranger up and then we could go help them." He says, "Yeah, but the reporters and soldiers everywhere." And that's something they didn't really deal with in the show. But the reporters and stuff are trying to find out what's going on. And of course, Bulk and Skull's right in the middle of it. So they have to kind of keep everything on a low profile. It's a lot like the movie. You know, it deals with a lot of those kind of things. But again, look how everybody's drawn. Billy, he's drawn smaller and geeky. Trini's drawn more petite, but she's still pretty. I'm not really happy about putting blush on Zach's face constantly, but the way that everybody's drawn is pretty cool. You know, very athletic, muscular. I just like it. It's cool. It's kind of the opposite of what everybody else is doing right now. And so Jason whips out his Power Ranger phone, because that's a thing. And basically, he gets a call from Alpha to come back, and you'll notice the ringtone. Doot, 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 doot. But then Zach's like immediately, "When Alpha give him a space phone?" "I want a space phone, Billy." He says, intriguing. But it's very Japanese style, if you hadn't noticed it already. But then we find out here that Kimberly is actually hanging out with that Matt guy from earlier, and they're actually dating. So then we got that dynamic going on. But they get interrupted by Trini saying that they need her because Alpha needs them. So she leaves. It talks about her. They go to Zordon's house. You know, "Welcome to my house." And basically he's telling them about what's going on. The astronauts are on the moon with Rita. And then Jason immediately does what a leader does, and he says, "Well, we have to save them. You know, we have to go." And he says, "No, you can't go. It's too dangerous. She has putty everywhere." And then Zach's like, "We're going to the moon? That's awesome." "Yeah, that's really high." And he says, "Please don't tell me we're going to the moon." And it's just like the Teen Titans is what it kind of reminds me of. because he says, "This feels spontaneous." Oh, I'm totally in. Yeah, I think we're all in if you're headed up there. So they basically they're trying to prove themselves. They're going to go to the moon, and this right here really got me excited. This scene here, it's morphin time. I mean, look at that epicness. It really encompasses each one of the characters' personalities in the drawings. And then we get the trademark Mastodon, Triceratops, Pterodactyl, Saber-toothed Tiger, Tyrannosaurus. And then they morph. Look at that. That's so cool. These people really do understand what Power Rangers is and why we should like them and what we like about them. So they teleport to the moon. Look at that shot. It says, "All right, Alpha, we made it. We're here. Excellent. Be careful, everyone." So basically they're talking about the palace, and she says, "I wish I could bring Matt up here." And he says, "Well, we have to protect him." And he's interrupting. She's like, "Jason." And then we get this shot here. There are putty everywhere. So they start fighting back, and Jason tells them to get away, and he's going to hold them off, just like a leader would do. He sends them off while he covers their retreat. And so then they see Goldar. They start fighting Goldar, and this is where it gets funny, but then it might be a little bit too much, but I think it was kind of funny. He says, "Well, if it isn't Brass Monkey," and I started singing it, "That funky monkey," and then he says, "The Rangers in my home, come." And then he says, "I will take your head for my Empress." And he says, "Not today, Beastie Boy." And I was like, oh man, is that too cringy or is that just funny enough? Because they have to be a little silly. It's campy, it's Power Rangers. And then Billy jumps behind him and says, "Take that." And he says, "You're going to have to work on that fight talk." And I thought, oh, that's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. So then they save the two astronauts. They're trying to make their way out. And that's when they notice, where's Jason? And Jason is actually trying to make his way through there, but then Rita interrupts him. And she starts attacking him. They start fighting. And it goes just like you think it would. He gets blasted through a wall and smudged into another wall. And so she says, "Jason, are you all right?" He says, "She hits really hard." And then you hear Rita say, "Hello." Then we get this epic shot here. Wow. See that little putty? He's like, "I'm going to watch y'all get y'all's butts kicked." It says, "Welcome to my home. I've been watching your little rescue mission, and more importantly, I've been listening." What did you call him, Jason? He and I have already met, so if I've heard correctly, your names are Billy, or Kimberly, and Trini, and Zach, and the last one, Billy. I wanted us all to have a proper introduction, so I had my palace lead you to me. My name is Rita Repulsa, and you have all made a terrible mistake. Look, see the expression on her face? I mean, that's awesome. Look how evil-looking Goldar looks. Pretty cool. And then we got the Power Rangers standing there ready to fight. To be continued. And I went ahead and got issue 2 as well because I couldn't wait. I thought it would be really cool. But here we are talking a little bit more about Power Rangers. They've got a little letter here. And then we get a little story page here where they're talking to the illustrator and the writer. See, there's the design for the characters there. I love that, how they got them in the background like that. That's cool. They talk a little bit about them, and you can really kind of tell that these guys like the Power Rangers. Because it says, "First of all, how excited are you to be working on Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers? What did the Power Rangers mean to you personally?" And Perot, the writer, says, "One of the most amazing things about working in comics is getting to contribute to something that I grew up loving and in some ways made me who I am. I watched Power Rangers on Saturday mornings, Feld continued to construct the Megazord toys, and like so many males of my age, crushed on Kimberly. Now I get to evolve the Rangers story for a modern audience and bring out all the things I love about them. It's an equally surreal and daunting experience." Okay, he likes the Power Rangers, you can tell. Then Morris says, "The Power Rangers were a big part of my childhood and one of the reasons I got into drawing. Now that I can actually draw them, it's a big deal for me." Isn't that cool? That's just like somebody that like what they're doing would tell you. It says, "If you love the original Rangers, you can look forward to learning a lot more about them." Okay, pretty solid. I mean, this comic's pretty cool. Even the back page is cool. Angel Grove High School. I mean, this is just a solid little comic. You know, I wouldn't give this comic like the best rating, but I would give it like an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. I mean, it's a really good comic for what it is. It's Power Rangers. This is the Power Rangers, and they didn't try to do anything crazy. They didn't try to do anything different. They did what the core characters are and did it to the full extent that they could. And that's why I like this comic, and I'm going to keep reading it. And I hope you do too. But give this video a like, give it a thumbs up, give it hit the bell for notifications, and subscribe to my channel if you would. But this is my take on it. I really like this comic. I hope you do too. Tell me what you like about this comic if you're already reading it. Tell me about other comics that you like by the Power Rangers, and maybe I'll check them out too. I'm already reading the original series and I like it, but this was so cool because it's such a different take on it. And so I had to pick it up and try it out. Let me know if you want me to do any of the other videos for the other issues. And tell me what you think about Gri Haru and their art style. But alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Underground Geek out.